All right, everybody, thank you for joining us on Rockland News. Did a little DJ thing there where stopped the song and then waited on a 4 count and then came back with the same thing. Definitely need a better DJ. All right, I am here solo today. I'm your host, Tom Osa. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to get through a lot of this very quickly because we all got appointments. First of all, just want to commemorate Juneteenth. It's June 19th, Friday at 11:08 a.m. For those of you that want to learn more about the history of Juneteenth, and it's a pretty cool holiday. We have a podcast out there that I did myself talking about the history of Juneteenth, and it's from reputable sources. And I consider Wikipedia a reputable source at this point because it is crowdsourced, verified. So I did a really long form talk about the history of Juneteenth and how slavery was finally knocked out of society for the most part. And it's basically Juneteenth is a celebration of that tragic time in our history being stomped out and, aiming always toward a better future. So hope everybody has a great Juneteenth celebrating, the end of bad things and the beginning of good things. And it's a good start to the summertime. Tomorrow's Father's Day. Definitely want to do a shout out to all of our fathers out there that are really guiding the next generation along with moms. And we had Mother's Day. So now it's the father's turn. So steak and whatever the heck else the dads want. Ladies, please take care of them. That's just my opinion. All right, let's get into the news. Actually, let me look for it because we did this morning and we stopped in order to first focus on all things sports with Tom Brady. We just got off the air with him, and that will be available on our Apple Podcast and Spotify locations shortly. So we hope that you'll check that out. Weather. First of all, it is currently about 71 degrees and mostly sunny. It's beautiful out there. And it looks like it's going to be a really good weekend as well. Friday is going to be a high of 77 degrees and pretty much pure sun. Here comes the sun. Saturday, it's going to be 75 degrees and sunny. And Sunday, it's going to be just partially cloudy, 78 degrees, low of 58 overnight. Monday is going to be rainy, 70 degrees, low of 61. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, you're going to see it a little bit more sunny. I'm not going to get into the Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week because that always changes, and we know this. We want to thank our sponsors, our many, many sponsors. First of all, the New York Boulders baseball team, Work Smart New York Business Boot Camp, Yabu Fence Company for all your fencing needs since 1965. And they have a whole bunch of new photos on their website at yabufence.com for both residential as well as commercial and industrial strength fencing. And you can turn your backyard into the oasis of your dreams with the help of Yabu Fence. Dana Pest Control, again, third generation family owned pest control business, can get rid of all of the pests in your house except for your relatives. They don't do that sort of work. But ticks, termites, bees, all the things that make you go, get out of here, they can get rid of. So you can learn more about them at danapestcontrol.com. Special shout out to Rick from Dana Pest Control. We went out to lunch the other day at Sazone EP Loan, and we had a good steak, sat down, caught up on some things. So I'm glad everything's going great for you and the family and the company and making all the right moves, man. I learn from you every time that we talk, so I appreciate you. Shout out to Anthony and Sonia and all the team over at Dana Pest Control. Also, Easy Temp for all your ice machine repair needs. Now, you may not have an ice machine, but you may know a business that has one in their restaurant, in their deli, in their convenience store that needs to be maintained. And that's where Easy Temp comes into play. EasyTemp.net for all your ice machine and commercial refrigeration repairs. They're located in Hackensack, New Jersey, but they handle the entire tri-state area. How about that? And Mark and Eileen over there, they run a tight ship and a very big schedule with a lot of team members taking care of things. So shout out to them. Fiesta Acapulco, located in Stony Point, New York. Fridays and Saturdays, it's like a Latin American nightclub. When you walk in, you feel like you're transformed into another place, typically Latin America. And Fiesta Acapulco does it right with their food, with their decor. It's like the cleanest place I've ever seen as far as a restaurant besides Kobe Sushi. The two of them are like neck and neck, but just amazing. The bar's lit up and good times, good times. And thank you very much for this cough button right next to the podcast thing. Kobe Sushi with their jazz music lounge, music on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Mention Rockland News and get 15% off your entire sushi order. Minimum $75, but that's at least $10.25 in savings. We were there last Friday night for Leslie's social group, and that place was packed. And you could see the pictures and the video and the performances at our Rockland's News page. Pretty damn fantastic. Breakpoint Bowling with their $2 million entertainment center located in West Haverstraw, New York. 20 bowling lanes, big screen TVs, arcade for the kids, laser tag. Plus, you got a restaurant, Joey A's. Hey, you got Joey A's, and they have music typically on the weekends, like a DJ. 845 was there. If you know DJ 845 is pretty darn amazing. Whole Shot Bagels, located in Haverstraw, New York. Mention Rockland News and get a free bagel if you're a first-time customer. How about that? Stony Point Massage. Kimmy O. Matthews is a fantastic masseuse, and I'll be going to her because my back is killing me, and I'm going to do a 1-2 punch with Anna Marie from North Rockland Chiropractic, and then I'm going to mosey on over to Stony Point Massage so that both my spine and my muscles feel absolutely fantastic. And I certainly need it, given the fact that we manage a large team and a lot of it, sitting in front of the computer, sitting is a lot of work. I like to move around, like to be active, but this is the life that I chose. So I guess sometimes we got to sit down. But if I go to the chiropractor or to Stony Point Massage or both, I'm going to feel really fantastic for a few days at least. And it's a part of a wellness plan. UPS store located in West Haverstraw. They do fantastic business cards, by the way. I have to thank UPS store in West Haverstraw. Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy located in West Haverstraw, New York. That's Dr. Nick Kirkpatrick. Susan Bover from Coldwell Banker Realty. 99 Signs for all your digital, billboard, and portable sign needs. FC Perfection Auto Body Repair in Congers, New York, and Clean Space Maintenance Management Company. If you need to get the mobile dumpster over to your house, you could just toss things in like the dwarf from the Lord of the Rings. You could toss all the stuff that you don't want cluttering up your house. Just throw it out into the mobile dumpster. Tony and Georgia take the mobile dumpster to the dump, and they dump it for just $199 to start, plus dumping fees, of course. So you end up, spending about $250 for everything, but it's worth it. You just get everything out of your house that you need to get out. It's awesome. So a lot of cool sponsors. Very much thank you to you guys. There's a lot more that are lining up in July. We'll announce them, but not just yet. And let's get into the news. First of all, Rockland County has a new commissioner of social services. County Executive Ed Day named, actually my classmate back at Albertus Magnus, Patrick Frawley, to lead the department, and the county legislature confirmed the appointment that he's going to be leading the Department of Social Services in Rockland County. Legislature confirmed the appointment on June 16th. Frawley previously served as Rockland's chief assistant district attorney for 6 years. He replaces retiring Commissioner Joan Silvestri and is expected to begin the role on June 30th. Separately, county lawmakers also reviewed parts of the 2026 Rockland County Comprehensive Plan with public feedback pointing to housing, transit, pedestrian access, and bike connections as key priorities for the county's future. And that sounds awesome about the bike connections, because some of you know I have a grandfather, he passed away, may he rest in peace, but had a bike store in the city for literally 50 plus years of his life. And then he moved the family up to West Haverstraw, and he had a bicycle store there for almost 20 years. Then me and my mom took over, and I'm definitely not looking to get back into the bike business. It is a tough business, but it's nice to know that people are active and they're going to be using, hopefully, these bike connections, notably one that one of our reporters on Rockland News, Joanne Lewis Paul, has been advocating for in the village of Spring Valley. So we'll keep you posted on anything bike connection related because we kind of know about it. Maybe we can get a bike company as an endorser of Rockland News. The wheels are turning. John, if you're listening, call me. Okay. A Rockland County corrections officer has been indicted after prosecutors said, oh, this is a great story. And I'm sorry for the person that got affected by this, first of all. And I also feel bad for the guy that did this. I don't know. It's just my opinion. It seems like it was a prank, but these things happen. I don't know if the punishment fits the crime, what they're shooting for. But this is basically the story. A Rockland County corrections officer has been indicted after prosecutors say that he put a laxative pill into another officer's coffee. Kind of not cool. Anyway, the Rockland County District Attorney's Office identified the defendant as Russell Thorne, 63 years old, of Greenwood Lake. Prosecutors say the alleged incident happened at the Rockland County Jail when Thorne approached a coworker's unattended coffee and placed an object inside. The object was later identified as a laxative, according to officials. Thorne was indicted on charges including attempted assault and criminal tampering and was released on his own recognizance. The allegations still have to be proven in court. Yes, they do. And I'm not sure how this is going to play out. It was apparently a female corrections officer. What I don't know, and maybe this will play out in court, maybe we'll send a reporter on this one because it's interesting. But did the two individuals involved, the corrections officer that may have done the prank, or the I'm trying to come up with the right words for this. I don't want to hurt myself, but I'm just trying to talk this out. But basically, so the guy that may have put the laxative in on the female corrections officer, I think the thing that I'm interested in is the motive. Like, if it was just a prank, like an intended prank, then it's like, oh, definitely, maybe like a suspension or something like that. But on the flip side, if it was like malicious, like, oh, I don't like this officer, I'm going to mess them up in a certain way. So I think intent and motive are going to play into this particular court trial. It's definitely embarrassing for both parties. So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to keep tabs on this along with our news team. I'm sure there's going to be some court proceedings, and we'll whip out our press pass one more time and sit there and listen to the pattern of activity that happened in that particular story. So stay tuned on that one. Next thing, Route 306 traffic. Drivers in Muncie should plan for a new traffic pattern along Route 306 as sidewalk construction continues between Rita Avenue and Ralph Boulevard. Ralph Boulevard. Okay. The town of Ramapo says the new pattern took effect on June 17th to reduce congestion in the work zone. Northbound Route 306 traffic is being detoured onto Rita Avenue and then Jill Lane and Kearsing Parkway before returning to Route 306. Southbound traffic remains open. Side streets in the area are restricted to local residents, buses, and emergency vehicles heading toward Route 306. Construction is expected to run Mondays through Saturdays with no work on Fridays and continue into mid-August. Fire protection coverage is changing for part of the Spring Valley Fire District No. 1 area. The Muncie Fire District has finalized an agreement for the Muncie Fire Department to provide fire suppression services in the affected coverage area, including Old Nyack Turnpike and Rock Hill Road corridor. Officials say the process began in late 2025 and was finalized this week. The transition will take effect after dispatch codes and operational updates are completed. The Spring Valley Fire Department is expected to remain part of the response through automatic mutual aid. And Rockland County Biz Journal reports that Rockland County was left out of two recent state funding rounds, one for animal shelter improvements and another for arts and cultural capital projects. The The state awarded $10 million for shelter projects, including funding in Orange County, but Rockland did not receive an award. Rockland also received none of the more than $82 million announced for arts and cultural nonprofit capital projects, despite awards going elsewhere in the Mid-Hudson region. The report notes that Rockland Green is moving ahead with a new animal shelter project in West Haverstraw. And full disclosure, RC Biz Journal is a little bit, let's just say, not always favorable to Rockland Green for a variety of reasons. There was obviously lawsuits that flew back and forth between parties and this and that. We're not going to get into that in this show, but I just wanted to note that just in the interest of objectivity at very least. But, hey, we're reporting on it. Paramount Country Club, a proposed housing plan in the Paramount Country Club in Clarkstown, is becoming an election season issue. RC Biz Journal also reports that the proposal calls for 230 units near the golf course, including townhomes, condos, golf villas, and 2 single-family homes. The plan requires zoning change from R160 conservation zoning to R22, and the town council would have the final say. Planning board members have raised questions about precedent, density, traffic, and parking. The project includes more than 500 parking spaces, and additional review could push the decision beyond November. Clarkstown is planning a major America 250 celebration next month, featuring what organizers describe as Hudson Valley's first patriotic drone show. The event is scheduled for Thursday, July 9th at Felix Festive Middle School in West Nyack. Gates open at 6 p.m. The West Point Band performs at 8 o'clock, and the drone show is expected around 9:15. The show will feature 400 synchronized drones creating patriotic images in the sky, including a design from a local high school drone show competition winner. Families are encouraged to bring lawn chairs, and it's the lead up to a really, really interesting and fun and activity-filled summer, especially here in Rockland County, because we're not just part of the celebration for America 250. Remember, there's a lot of history across Rockland County when Revolutionary troops were all over the place. In Rockland County, it was also the Stony Point battlefield up in Stony Point, New York, where the Battle of Stony Point occurred. But there's just so much history here. Treason House is actually right down the road from the Rockland News studio, where Benedict Arnold met up with, what's the guy's name? Tom Arnold something, not Arnold Schwarzenegger. I should know this. I have a history degree. It's, it'll come to me. Well, bully on me. It'll come back to me. But there's just so much history in this area. Major Andre, that's right. Major Andre was the one that he met with. And bad things happened there because Benedict Arnold gave over the plans for the troop movements to Major Andre. Major Andre was later found by the Revolutionary War troops in the Continental Army, and he was hanged for treason. Or for being a spy. That's what it was. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff that happens. Nyack's history. Nyack News and Views is spotlighting the village's arch bridge and the hidden Nyack Brook after a recent tunnel incident drew attention to the old stormwater culverts beneath Memorial Park. The feature explains that the arch bridge, built in the 1870s, spans the buried course of Nyack Brook near Piermont Avenue and Hudson Avenue. And the article notes that the brook once powered mills and helped shape Nyack's early industrial history. Officials emphasize that the underground drainage system in which the 71 teenagers went through this last week is not meant for public access or exploration or exploration, especially because stormwater can move quickly and dangerously during heavy rain. So, a dangerous thing that happened. They're teenagers, but we're still trying to find out, where were the chaperones? We really would like to know that because it's a serious issue. And there's just so many more stories that you could catch. We're going to be sending out the Rocklands newsletter shortly. If you'd like to sign up for the Rocklands newsletter, it's a once a week email that goes out to about 9,300 people across Rockland County. and it basically covers a lot of the news that has been happening over the last week. You could sign up at rocklandnews.com. You could subscribe right there on the homepage when the pop-up window shows up, and then we send out the email once a week. We don't mess with your inbox. I'm a web developer that gets 850,000 emails a day, along with the team that has to field a lot of emails. It's the worst invention since inventions were invented. But yeah, but you get once a week the emails from really all across Rockland County, just delivered to you, so that you can make better and more informed choices. So check that out. There is one more story that I want to bring up, and we don't have all the facts and details on this just yet, but it seems like there's a little war that's brewing up in Stony Point. So if you've been following the Stony Point community group and the North Rockland community group, it seems that there's a good number of people that are aiming to be the official representatives for the Stony Point Republican Party, the GOP up here. Well, open warfare has basically been declared on these community groups. I'm actually going to head over there right now because there's just some interesting information. But basically, so a few weeks ago, apparently there was a mailer that went out with the official Stony Point Republican Committee team. District 1, District 2, District 7, 9, 10, 11, 14. And there's all these candidates that, you probably know their names if you've been around for a while. But like, for instance, June Jobson, Kenneth Javanez, Doug Jobson, Carl Javanez, Paul Joachim. I'm just looking through the list here. Keith Williams, Megan Carey, Jake Cataldo, individuals that are on the what's being penned as the official Republican committee team. The thing is that there is also another group that has been forming, and I think it looks like it's led by a gentleman named Aidan Rowan. And the candidates for the districts, for instance, Joseph Call, District 1, Matt Sloboda, District 7, James Nolan, District 7, got Paul Joachim, District 9. So he's on both of them. That's interesting. Josie Sloboda, that's Matt Sloboda's relative, in District 10. Kimberly Von Hein, District 10. District 11, there we go, Aidan Rowan. And I'm just Patrick Walsh, District 11. And then in District 14, you got Brian and Caitlin Nolan and Shane R. McCarthy. Now, the thing that I find interesting is, and it's just part of what happens at this time of the year when everybody's going at each other. But they're basically, they're openly firing shots at each other. They're like, no, we're the official team. No, it's time for a change, this, that, and the other. Apparently some mailers were sent out that were basically openly knocking several people. There's social media posts that are like, this isn't the official team. They're doing shady stuff. The other team is like, no, you're doing shady stuff and stop acting like you aren't because mailers have been sent out. So there's a lot of accusations that are happening. You can check this out over at the Stony Point community group. And I'll just read a few things here. Like, for instance, on one post, and this is by Aidan Rowan, he's saying Stony Point needs change, and that change starts at the lowest level of politics and government, our local Republican committee. For decades, the committee has been controlled by many of the same people. Unfortunately, Stony Point is not the same town I grew up in, or even the same town the generation before me grew up in. In many ways, our community is worse off today than it was years ago. This primary election gives us an opportunity to change the direction of our town. Republicans have the chance to make their voices heard during the early voting period, which begins this Saturday and runs through Election Day on June 23rd. And this is the part that I find interesting. Our former town supervisor, Jim Monahan, who since he's left office has been largely not, participating in the politics process. But this is what Jim said in a comment. Aidan Rowan seems to believe that listening to residents with different political affiliations is a weakness. I disagree. A supervisor works for every resident of Stony Point. The comprehensive plan should reflect the entire community and hearing different perspectives is part of responsible and strong leadership. And Aiden responded, how many Democrats did you put on committees? In fact, I can recall you consistently bashing Pete Riley on many occasions. Why do you now all of a sudden do you think it's a good idea to bring Beth Davidson as a supporter to the table to decide our town's future? And then Jim shot back, I never did a comprehensive plan committee. However, the last time a comprehensive plan was done, there was a Democratic supervisor who had both Republicans and Democrats on the committee. Yes, I disagree with Pete on certain things, but there were many things we agreed on. Yes, I only filled board appointments with Republicans. And then Aiden says, I commend you for appointing Republicans. I wish that was maintained. I also thank you and Supervisor Stam for believing in me and appointing me to the Architectural Review Board twice. So it's really interesting because you have individuals that were in office before that not currently in office are jumping into the election season. And this is a joyous time of the year, ladies and gentlemen, because Rockland News finally gets to sit back and let the news come to them. So we'll be keeping posts on these particular issues probably on Monday, Tuesday before the you get to, you can go to the polls to vote for your district representatives if you're up in Stony Point, FYI. We're going to have a few guests on the show next week talking about the different sides, and we get to sit back and listen, and hopefully you will become more informed from this. And I don't know if any jokes will be thrown out. Probably not, because these are serious times, ladies and gentlemen. But I definitely would like to hear both sides of the story on this because it's important. And sometimes, and call me an old school softy, but I like it when people fight with each other on stage. I just do. UFC doesn't always do it for me. Sometimes you just got to have people debating, and really, sometimes you got to throw some shots out there. And if you're a really, really good debater, you know how to duck, dodge, parry, dive, swim, and then come back with whatever you got to do in order to take down your debate competitor. I miss debating. I should get back to it, but nobody would listen. I know this. All right. So I want to thank our sponsors one more time. I'm just going to get through the list real quick. So again, New York Boulders baseball team, Work Smart New York, Yabu Fence Company, Dana Pest Control, Easy Temp, Fiesta Acapulco, Kobe Sushi, Breakpoint Bowling, Whole Shot Bagels, Stony Point Massage, the UPS store in West Haverstraw, Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy, Susan Bover from Coldwell Banker Realty, 99 Signs, FZ Perfection, and Clean Space Maintenance Management Company. I'm your host, Tom Oss. On behalf of Rockland News, thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll see you next week. Remember, you can catch all the news that matters to you most at rocklandsnews.com. We post about 500 stories per year, and thank you to those that contributed to the 590,000 page views last year, 3.6 million on social media at Facebook, Rockland News, and you can also catch this as a podcast on Apple Podcast as well as Spotify. My name is Tom Ossa. Thanks for joining us, and have a great weekend. We'll catch you soon. Take care.